Behind every locked door lies a story the world was never meant to hear. Welcome to Behind Bars TV, where we uncover the hidden realities of the world's toughest prisons, untold inmate experiences, and the systems built to contain them. From supermax facilities to forgotten penitentiaries, we reveal the truth behind concrete walls and razor wire. This is not fiction. This is the world behind bars. Every society has its rulers. But inside America's prisons, the rulers don't wear badges. They wear ink and silence. Behind the bars exists another government, one that doesn't appear on any chart or in any warden's report. A hidden empire built on blood, maintained by loyalty, and protected by silence. It runs the drugs. It dictates who lives and who dies. And its reach stretches far beyond the walls. Blood, loyalty, and silence. The hidden empire behind bars. The birth of an empire. America's prison gangs didn't begin as criminal enterprises. They began as tribes. Protection was survival. In the chaos of overcrowded prisons, racial segregation, and daily violence, men built families of necessity. From these alliances, empires were born. At first, it was about safety, said a former inmate from San Quentin. Then it became about control. The Aryan Brotherhood formed to defend white inmates. The Mexican Mafia rose to unify Latinos under a single banner. The Black Guerrilla Family emerged with political discipline and revolutionary purpose. Each created rules, the code of blood. Breaking it meant death. Keeping it meant power. It wasn't gangs anymore. It was government, just one made of convicts. The laws of loyalty. To join, you swore blood loyalty. To betray, you forfeited life. The oath bound every member for eternity, even beyond prison. Once you take the ink, you are the gang until death. You don't retire, said one lifer. You only expire. The gangs became families stronger than blood, ruling not through chaos, but through structure, ranks, laws, and councils. Each gang's constitution outlined duties, taxation, recruitment, and punishment. Loyalty wasn't a choice. It was oxygen. Blood is law. In the empire behind bars, blood isn't just violence, it's law. Every membership begins with blood, a murder, an assault, an act of proof. And every exit ends with blood, a hit, a funeral, a closed casket. They say there are only two ways out, death or paperwork, said one ex-member. And paperwork gets you killed faster. The cycle of blood binds power to fear. Even the innocent, those who own nothing, get caught in its economy of survival. It's not about killing. It's about keeping the order. And blood is the signature that seals every contract. Building the machine. Behind the bars, an invisible machine hums, the infrastructure of control. Each gang functions like a government. Leaders decide policy and punishment. Shot callers manage daily business. Soldiers enforce rules and collect taxes. They have bylaws, meetings, votes, and budgets. Every hustle, from phone smuggling to drug deals, pays a tax. A percentage goes upward through the chain of command, creating an economy that rivals small corporations. It's not random violence. It's administration ruled by discipline, debt, and death. The business of brotherhood. The empire needed money to survive. With no legal banks, they created their own, a shadow economy spanning families, visitors, and dirty guards. Phones are gold. Drugs are stock. Lives are investment. We turn time into business, said one ex-Aryan Brotherhood soldier. Every minute someone's hustling. Money from the outside funnels inward, sustaining the inner hierarchy. Inmates fund outside criminal activity. Outside associates keep the prisons fed with resources. It's a feedback loop of survival. The more powerful the gang becomes, the richer it grows. It's the only economy where profit comes from punishment. Networks of power. An empire can't survive inside one set of walls. It needs communication, connection, control. By the 1990s, gangs had evolved from neighborhood crews into nationwide syndicates. From Pelican Bay to Leavenworth, Florence to Angola, every major prison gang built lines of contact across states and facilities. They built their own version of the internet, a human network powered by trust, blood, and fear. The leaders inside communicate with the streets through wives, girlfriends, lawyers, and even corrupt staff. What begins as a prison hierarchy becomes a nationwide corporation, operating from isolation cells. When the lights go out, says a former intelligence officer, that's when the real meetings begin. Information is power, and in here, it's worth more than gold. The war for the yards. Every empire meets resistance. In prison, resistance bleeds. The yard is divided by race, region, and allegiance. When a code is broken, peace collapses instantly, sometimes over a debt as small as a soup packet, other times over leadership disputes spanning decades. "We call it the yard tax," said a Pelican Bay inmate. "Every few years, someone has to pay in blood." Each war reshapes the hierarchy. The Mexican Mafia fought Nuestra Familia for control of Latino populations. The Aryan Brotherhood waged decades-long feuds with the DC Blacks and BGF. Thousands died to decide who runs the commissary trades and who controls the keys to each yard. Violence isn't the collapse of the system. It's how the system resets. The silent leaders. When authorities tried to cut off leadership by isolating them, the gangs adapted. They created a new breed of ruler, the silent shot caller. These men rarely speak, rarely leave their cells, yet their word shapes entire states. Orders move through coded artwork, legal documents, and whispered prayer lists. "He's in the hole," said a guard, but somehow he knows who owes him money in 6 different prisons. Isolation doesn't weaken them, it sanctifies them. To their followers, they're saints, martyrs of the code. When the walls close in, myth replaces presence, and myth commands armies. The politics of fear. Fear isn't chaos, it's politics. Every empire behind bars thrives on calculated intimidation. A single act of violence echoes for months. Rumors become propaganda. You don't need to kill 10 men. You need 1 body and 10 witnesses. Gang leaders use fear to negotiate with administration. "Keep our men together, and the yard stays quiet." The wardens comply. Stability over justice. "It's a cold deal," one retired official admitted. "We gave control to the gangs because they could keep order better than we could." Prison becomes a partnership between those who keep the peace and those who profit from it. The business of war. When peace fails, business thrives. Drugs, phones, protection rackets, gambling. Each war resets supply chains. After blood spills, leaders renegotiate trade routes and taxes. "They kill in the morning," said a former federal inmate. "Then they do business in the afternoon." Even rival gangs form temporary alliances, business truces, to maximize profit. The Aryan Brotherhood and Mexican Mafia, once enemies, shared smuggling channels for years. Profit is thicker than hate. Ideology fades. Economics endures. The empire runs on revenue, not revenge. Digital kingdoms. When the world went digital, the empire upgraded. Cell phones became weapons. Social media accounts turned into propaganda. From solitary confinement, leaders now run extortion rings, crypto trades, and outside crews. "They're CEOs with burner phones," said a cybercrime agent. "We're chasing hashtags instead of handshakes." Bitcoin wallets replace cigarette stashes. Orders move through TikTok DMs disguised as rap lyrics. One cell becomes a command center linking 4 states. The walls still stand. The world just learned to fit through the Wi-Fi. The weight of betrayal. Empires rot from within. As indictments pile up, loyalty becomes currency and corruption. Shot callers flip for lighter sentences. Best friends sign deals in secret. One confession erases 10 lives. "There's no honor anymore," said a lifer from Marion. The new breed sells secrets faster than they sell drugs. The silence that once protected the code now suffocates it. Whispers of betrayal travel faster than bullets, and trust becomes extinct. Blood built the empire. Betrayal writes its obituary. The fall of giants. Federal crackdowns hit like earthquakes. RICO indictments wipe out entire hierarchies overnight. Leaders die in supermax isolation, their names reduced to case numbers. But removal doesn't mean extinction. Every time a king falls, lieutenants fight to wear his crown. "You can cut off the head," said a warden, "but you can't kill belief. From ashes rise new factions, more ruthless, less disciplined. Violence spikes. Order shatters. The empire consumes itself to stay alive. The end isn't peace. It's chaos wearing yesterday's colors. The Ghost Network. Even after release, the code follows. Ex-members live as ghosts, watched by feds, haunted by enemies, trapped by loyalty. Some vanish into witness programs. Others run mentorship groups, teaching kids the price of silence. "You never really leave," one said. "You just change uniforms." Across America, invisible strings still connect men who once ruled the yards. Old favors, unpaid debts, buried secrets. Each tug keeps the empire breathing in whispers. Voiceover. Time releases bodies, not bonds. Legacy is silence. Decades after the first blood oath, the empire remains shapeless, silent, self-sustaining. It is no longer one gang or race. It's an idea. Control through fear, loyalty through isolation. Guards retire. Wardens rotate. Buildings crumble. But the code endures, whispered in every cell block where a man promises another, "I got you." In the free world, says a former inmate, you can forget who you are. In here, the code remembers for you. Blood made the brotherhood. Loyalty kept it alive. Silence made it eternal. The empire that went legit. Narration. Not every empire dies, it evolves. Some of the men who once ordered hits now run nonprofits. They lecture about redemption, trade their shanks for microphones, and use the same leadership that once built violence to now build peace. "I ran a $100,000 drug line for my cell," one reformed leader said. "If I could do that behind bars, imagine what I can do free." But even legitimacy bears a shadow. Old contacts still call. Old debts still whisper. You can walk away from prison, but you can't walk away from an empire you built in blood. The code of the new generation. A new generation has rewritten the rules. They're less loyal, more digital, more unpredictable. For them, the code isn't sacred scripture. It's a playlist, a trend, a brand. They don't write the rules anymore, says a veteran inmate. They remix them. Social media turns violence into spectacle. Every fight becomes viral currency. Every gang name a global label. The empire didn't vanish. It went online. The collapse of silence. For decades, silence was the most powerful weapon inside prison. Now it's the weakest. Inmates record guards. Guards record inmates. Families leak messages online. The myth of secrecy has cracked under constant surveillance. They built a world on silence, a prosecutor says, and we killed it with microphones. Snitches used to die. Now they're live-streamed, archived, analyzed. In an empire that once feared light, exposure is the new death sentence. The endless sentence. For some, the empire never ended, only time did. These men remain inside, forgotten by generations they helped shape. They speak in riddles of a code no one follows anymore. "We ruled the yard," one whispers. "Now we just remember." The new gangs don't visit them. The new economy doesn't need them. The old kings sit in silence, ghosts of a kingdom they can still feel, but no longer command. In the empire of blood, loyalty was the weapon, but silence was the sentence. The final confession. In the end, every man faces the weight of his own code. The rules that once gave order became chains. The loyalty that once brought pride became guilt. "We thought we were building power," he says. "We were building our own cages." He stops speaking. A heartbeat echoes. Voiceover, final words. Empires fall. Walls crumble. Names fade. But the story remains, written not in ink, but in blood. Dedicated to every soul still trapped behind the code. Sound of a cell door locking, slowly, echoing into silence. What you just saw is more than a story. It's a reality lived by thousands behind bars. If you believe in uncovering the truth, the kind hidden behind concrete walls and silence, then join us. Subscribe to Behind Bars TV and never miss a chapter in the world's most dangerous stories. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and remember, freedom and confinement are sometimes only a wall apart.